Hey guys, it's me, Kari, and we haven't had story time in quite a while, so here we are back to Girl Interrupted. This chapter is entitled Dental Health. I was sitting in the cafeteria eating meatloaf when something peculiar happened inside my jaw. My cheeks started swelling up. By the time I got back to the ward, I had a ping-pong ball on the side of my face. Wisdom tooth, said Valerie. We went over to see the dentist. His office was in the administration building where long ago I'd sat quietly waiting to be locked up. The dentist was tall, sullen, and dirty, with speckles of blood on his lab coat and a pubic mustache. When he put his fingers in my mouth, they tasted of earwax. Abscess, he said. I'll take it right out. No, I said. No what? He was shuffling through his tool tray. I won't. I looked at Valerie. I won't let you. Valerie looked out the window. Could control it with some antibiotics for the moment, she said. Could, he said. He looked at me. I bared the rest of my teeth at him. Okay, he said. On our way back, Valerie said, that was sensible of you. It had been a long time since I'd heard myself called anything as complimentary as sensible. That guy looked like a pimple, I said. Have to get the infection under control first, Valerie muttered to herself as she unlocked the double doors to our ward. The first day of penicillin, the ping-pong ball turned into a marble. By the second day, the marble had turned into a pea. But there was a rash on my face. Also, I was too hot. No postponing it now, said Valerie, and don't take penicillin again, ever. I won't go, I said. I'm taking you to my dentist in Boston tomorrow, she said. Everybody was excited. Boston? Polly wiggled her striped hands. What are you going to wear? You could go to a matinee, said Georgina, and eat popcorn? You could score something for me, said Lisa. Down near Jordan Marsh, there's this guy with a blue baseball cap. You could jump out at a red light and split, said Cynthia. His name is Astro, Lisa continued. She was more realistic than Cynthia. She knew I wouldn't split. He sells black beauties cheap. I look like a chipmunk, I said. I can't do anything. In the cab, I was too nervous to look at Boston. Lean back and count to 10, said the dentist. Before I got to 4, I was sitting up with a hole in my mouth. Where did it go? I asked him. He held up my huge tooth, bloody, spiked, and wrinkled. But I'd been asking about the time. I was ahead of myself. He'd dropped me into the future, and I didn't know what had happened to the time in between. How long did that take? I asked. Oh, nothing, he said, in and out. That didn't help. Like 5 seconds? Like 2 minutes? He moved away from the chair. Valerie, he called. I need to know, I said. No hot liquids for 24 hours, he said. How long? 24 hours. Valerie came in all business. Up you get, let's go. I need to know how long that took, I said, and he won't tell me. She gave me one of her withering looks. Not long, I can tell you that. It's my time, I yelled. It's my time, and I need to know how much it was. The dentist rolled his eyes. I'll let you handle this, he said, and left the room. Come on, said Valerie, don't make trouble for me. Okay, I got out of the dentist's chair. I'm not making trouble for you, anyhow. In the cab, Valerie said, I've got something for you. It was my tooth, cleaned up a bit, but huge and foreign. I snitched it for you, she said. Thanks, Valerie, that was nice of you. But the tooth wasn't what I really wanted. I want to know how much time that was, I said. See, Valerie, I've lost some time, and I need to know how much. I need to know. Then I started crying. I didn't want to, but I couldn't help it. All right, here's another chapter. Calais is engraved on my heart. A new name had appeared on the blackboard. Alice Calais. Let's guess about her, said Georgina. Some new nut, said Lisa. When is she coming? I asked Valerie. Valerie pointed down the hall towards the doors, and there she was, Alice Calais. She was young like us and didn't look too crazy. We got up off the floor to say hello properly. I'm Alice Callis, she said. But she said Callus. Calais, said Georgina. Alice Calais Callis squinted. Huh? You say it Callus? I told Georgina. I thought she was rude to imply that Alice didn't know how to say her own name. Calais? Georgina said again. Valerie came over at this point to show Alice her room. It's like Vermont, I said to Georgina. We don't say Vermont like the French do. Or Vermont, excuse me, like the French do. Phonetics, said Lisa. Alice Calais Callis was timid, but she liked us. She often sat near us and listened. Lisa thought she was a bore. Georgina tried to draw her out. You know, that's a French name, she told Alice. Calais. Callus, Alice said. It is? Yes, it's a place in France, a famous place. Why? It used to belong to England, said Georgina. A lot of France did. Then they lost it in the 100 Years' War. Calais was the place they lost. 100 years? Alice widened her eyes. It was easy to impress Alice. She knew almost nothing about anything. Lisa thought she was a retard. I apologize for saying that word, guys, but it's in the text. One morning, we were sitting in the kitchen eating toast with honey. What's that? Asked Alice. Toast with honey. I've never had honey, Alice said. This was stunning. Who could imagine a life so circumscribed that it excluded honey? Never? I asked. Georgina passed her a piece. We watched while she ate. It tastes like bees, she announced. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Sort of furry and tingly like bees. I took another bite of my toast. The honey just tasted like honey, something I couldn't remember tasting for the first time. Later that day, when Alice was off having a Rorschach, I asked, how can a person who's never eaten honey have a family that can afford to send her here? Probably really incredibly crazy and interesting, so they let her in for a lot less, said Georgina. I doubt it, said Lisa. And for several weeks, Alice Calais gave no evidence of being either really crazy or interesting. Even Georgina got tired of her. She doesn't know anything, said Georgina. It's as if she spent her life in a closet. She probably did, said Lisa, locked up in a closet eating Cheerios. You mean kept there by her parents? I asked. Why not, said Lisa. After all, they named her Alice Callis. It was as good an explanation as any for why, after about a month, Alice exploded like a volcano. A lot of energy in that girl, Georgina observed. Down at the end of the hall, muffled booming and yelling and crashing came out of the seclusion room. The next day, as we sat on the floor under the blackboard, Alice was marched past us between two nurses on her way to maximum security. Her face was puffy from crying and bashing around. She didn't look at us. She was occupied by her own complicated thoughts. You could tell by the way she was squinting and moving her mouth. Her name came off the blackboard rather quickly. Guess she's settled in over there, said Lisa. We ought to go see her, said Georgina. The nurses thought it was nice that we wanted to visit Alice. It was even all right for Lisa to go. They must have figured she couldn't get into trouble on maximum security. It didn't look special from the outside. It didn't even have extra doors, but inside it was different. The windows had screens like our windows, but there were bars in front of the screens. Little bars, thin and several inches apart. Still, they were bars. The bathrooms had no doors and the toilets had no seats. Why no seats? I asked Lisa. Could rip off a seat and whack somebody? I don't know. The nursing station wasn't open like ours, but encased in chicken wire glass. Nurses were either in or out. No leaning over the Dutch door to chat on maximum security. And the rooms were not really rooms. They were cells. They were seclusion rooms, in fact. There wasn't anything in them except bare mattresses with people on them. Unlike our seclusion room, they had windows, but the windows were tiny, high, chicken wire enforced, security-screened, barred windows. Most of the doors to the rooms were open, so as we walked down the hall to see Alice, we could see other people lying on their mattresses. Some were naked. Some were not on their mattresses, but standing in a corner or curled up against a wall. That was it. That was all there was. Little bare rooms with one person per room curled up somewhere. Alice's room didn't smell good. Her walls were smeared with something. So was she. She was sitting on her mattress with her arms wrapped around her knees and with smears on her arms. Hi, Alice, said Georgina. That's shit, Lisa whispered to me. She's been rubbing her shit around. We stood around outside the doorway. We didn't want to go into the room because of the smell. Alice looked like somebody else, as if she'd gotten a new face. She looked kind of good. How's it going? Asked Georgina. It's okay, said Alice. Her voice was hoarse. I'm hoarse, she said. I've been yelling. Right, said Georgina. Nobody said anything for a minute. I'm getting better, said Alice. Good, said Georgina. Lisa tapped her foot on the linoleum. I was feeling faint from trying to breathe without breathing in the smell. So, said Georgina. Well, we'll see you soon, okay? Thanks for coming, said Alice. She unclasped her knees for a few seconds to wave at us. We went over to the nursing station where our escort had gone to visit with the staff. We couldn't see our nurse. Georgina rapped on the glass. The person on duty looked up and shook her head at us. I just want to get out of here, I said. Georgina rapped on the glass again. We want to go back to SB2, she said loudly. The person on duty nodded, but our nurse did not appear. Maybe they tricked us, said Lisa. Gonna leave us here. That's not funny, I said. Georgina gave another rat-a-tat to the glass. I'll fix it, said Lisa. She pulled her lighter from her pocket and lit up a cigarette. Immediately, two nurses sprang out of the nursing station. Give me that lighter, said one, while the other grabbed the cigarette. Lisa smiled. We need our escort over to SB2. The nurses went back into the nursing station. No lighters on maximum security. Supervised smoking. I knew that would rouse them. Lisa pulled out another cigarette, then put it back in the pack. Our nurse came out. That was a short visit, she said. How was Alice? She said she was getting better, said Georgina. She had shit, I said, but I couldn't describe it. Our nurse nodded. It's not that unusual. The ugly living room, the bedroom stuffed with bureaus and chairs and blankets and pillows, and Aide leaning out of the nursing station talking to Polly, the white chalk in its dish below the blackboard waiting for us to sign ourselves in home again. Oh, I said, sighing several times. I couldn't get enough air in, or get the air in me out. What do you think happened to her anyhow, said Georgina. Something, said Lisa. Shit on the wall, I said. Oh, God, could that happen to us? She said she was getting better, Georgina said. Everything's relative, I guess, said Lisa. It could, couldn't it, I asked. Don't let it, said Georgina. Don't forget it. All right, guys, that is it for now. I will try to be back with more chapters on a more frequent and regular basis, but today's the first in a really long time I've not felt completely awful. So, yay for that. I will talk to you all soon. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back soon with more stuff. Bye, guys.